Hello everybody and welcome to another review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the long-awaited Helldivers figure. I say long-awaited because this is the first official figure that we've gotten since the game has been out, and if you're like me, you've been waiting for this for a while. This is from McFarlane. It stands at 7 inches tall, so it's not going to fit in with your 1/12 scale. Of course, it's that McFarlane scale that they always love to do. Got a couple comparisons to some larger figures that are in 1/12 scale. We'll see how they stack up. But I'm excited to review this, even though I've seen some negative things about it. I'm not going to let that stop me, because I've waited for this figure for a while, and to have an official one sitting in front of me now is great. So let's get into it. First up, let's go over the box. And as you can see, this box is massive. I think it's a little too big, to be honest with you. They probably could have cut down some of the cost with this, but it's pretty good. As you can see, it is chock full of accessories. We got multiple weapons up top, another weapon here, another weapon here, hands, more weapons here. You got two little cards back there, and then you also have the base plate thing that he can stand on. Overall, I think that this is a really cool looking box. You can see it has the official Helldivers 2 logo down here, the Elite Edition. This is my first Elite Edition figure from McFarlane. This is actually my first McFarlane figure that I've bought in a long time, especially new. And then on the back, we have the Helldivers logo. So you can see the 4 different Helldivers here. No, I mean, I guess they're all the same, but different weapons. You got some bugs, which would be awesome if McFarlane makes those. They would be massive, but I would take them. Then we have this awesome artwork on the side here. This is labeled number 10, so I don't know if that's the Elite Edition figure numbers. I don't know anything about McFarlane here with Elite Edition, but there's that reverse of the B-01, which is what we're going to be taking a look at today. So let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, next we're going to take a look at the accessories. So here is that railgun, which looks great. It doesn't have a wash or anything on it, but it's painted very well. Nothing moves on it. It's very durable plastic. It does bend a slight bit. It's not bent really any out of the box, so this will be great. Charge this up and blow yourself up if you're familiar with the game. We also have this sword, which you can see it's a little wonky, a little warped, so take some heat to that. See that this is bendy, but the paint on it is pretty good. You can see it's got the gold handle, nice little bit of a metallic shine to it. So if you wanted to have your Helldiver with that, you could. Next melee weapon is this stun baton, which again is just a little wonky here. Again, soft plastic, so it's going to be a slight bit warped when you get it out of the package, but another thing to arm your Helldiver with. Next up, which I was surprised to see because I think this was one that came out later in the game, we have this flamethrower. Kind of wish this canister was removable for reload. Again, nothing on this that is removable or movable at all. But the paint looks good. It's got that nice metallic finish. No wash to it. I feel like these guns could probably use a black wash maybe. At least the ones that aren't dark like this one. But it's there. So if you wanted to run them with that, you could. And then last up, we have the stratagem of the heavy machine gun. Or not the, heavy machine gun, but the one that hits medium armor pen. And you can see it's a slight bit warped, but it's not bad. It's actually pretty good. You can see that this is soft here, so this is where the warping is going to be. Again, magazine, not removable. Kind of wish that it was. Looks like it could potentially be, but it's all molded together. Paint on this is pretty bland. I feel like a dry brush probably could have gone over pretty well. But, I mean, we'll take it. And if I said last weapon, I was wrong, because we have the Senator, the P4 Senator. Nothing moves on this. Again, very plain, just one color. No wash to it. But it looks pretty good. One of my favorite secondaries to run in the game, as this can take out many Hulks. Last weapon we get, which is in his hands, and I'll go over when I move the figure, is the Liberator. Alright, let's take a look at the hands real quick. So these are spare hands. We got this pointing hand. Maybe he's putting in a stratagem. So you can see that. Doesn't hold anything. This is for the right hand. And then on the left hand, we have this hand, which I believe is an emote in the game. Then we have a hand for the left hand again that can hold something, presumably one of the weapons or guns. And then we have a fist. And on the figure, we have a right trigger hand and an open hand, kind of like this. All right, and the moment everybody's been waiting for, the figure. We love the accessories, but the figure is what we buy it for, right? So let me get his gun off, and I'm actually just going to leave the hand attached because it's a little difficult to even get the hand on here. So I'm just going to do this all in one. So you can see the trigger hand, and then you can see the Liberator, which looks great. It's got the skull here. It's got the scope, the light, and the laser combo. Magazine does get in the way a little bit. I kind of wish that this was removable. Again, it is not. It's got that metallic paint to it. And again, very bland for the gun. No dry brushing. A little bit of dry brushing would go a long way on these. And I think I might do that myself just to bring them in to detail a little bit. And then the hand. I said it was a pain because it is. Basically just want to drop this hand in warm water or heat it up with a hairdryer real quick. Bend it out. Get it around there. And then pretty much just leave it. That's what I'm going to do because if I don't have this gun with him, it'll probably be one of the other ones, but mostly, at least for this guy, I have a couple of these. I'm just going to run with him. So in the meantime, I'm just going to put another hand in place so he's not messing up. And there we go. All right, let's take a look at the Helldiver himself. So you can see he's got a great paint job to him. That is known by McFarlane for what they are. All right. Typically, their figures look great, but they make statues. If you've been around for a while, they make some pretty good figures, but they may not articulate well. They've done Halo, and some of these guys are great. Some of them are bad. It was just hit or miss, and it depends on, I guess, however they come up with the sculpt. I stopped buying Halo McFarlane figures a while ago when they went to like Halo 4 and 5, and I didn't pick anything up since then. This, however, is completely redone. It is a new McFarlane scale, so we're at 7 inches now, versus the Halo figure that I showed you was about maybe 5. Again, not in scale with anything else, typical for McFarlane. This guy is got major improvements over the previous figures. So we're going to go over everything from the top down. The head can spin. It is very tight, but he will be able to go all the way around, front and back. Now, looking down, he's got about that much. Okay, so he's got a good range of motion going down. Now, looking up, that's probably about it. Okay, so he cannot look back very far. Haven't popped the head off to see. There might be some work you could do under the helmet to get that. Not 100% sure. You can mimic it now when he's looking up if you bend him back, and that's about as far back as he goes. So you're not going to be able to get too much up look movement. Like if there was a Bile Titan above him, that's about as high as he can look, right? Not good, not bad. Now we got this awesome wired cape. So you can pose this any way you want to have it blowing in the wind. You know, if you wanted to have it standing on the cliff, that's blowing in the wind. If you wanted to do the infamous, you've just gotten knocked on your ass in the game and now their cape is running over on top of you. You can do whatever you want because it's wired. And that's what's great about it. And it's one of my favorite features of the figure. And it seems like more and more companies are doing wired capes or cloaks or whatever else needs to be wired. So I'll take that. Now with that, because it's soft goods, you can get the arms up pretty decent amount. And these shoulder pads are soft, so they do lift up a little bit, so you can get a little bit extra if you kind of push it. So there you go. Put that down. Arms, we got butterfly joints in there, as you can see. That's going to allow him to reach out pretty good. And then again, push it a little bit. You don't want to push it too much, but if you push it enough, you can get it pretty good across his body there, so you can see that. He's not going to be able to really reach the stratagem to call it in, but he can get pretty close. And if you set it up right, you might be able to get that. Just depends on how you have the arms. They can go all the way around, and they are a little loose, as you can see that they move pretty well, but like they're gonna hold. They're not that kind of loose where it's gonna wobble, but you can definitely tell it's a little loose. So if they maybe work this just a little bit tighter, I think they'll be fine. But honestly, where it's at doesn't really bother me. Moving down, we don't have any swivel. My number one complaint is action figures need a swivel joint here just above the elbow, because if you're gonna have a double jointed arm, and have this great range of motion, when it comes to here, I should be able to rotate this down. Instead, I have to rotate the whole arm, and then he can't hold things properly. It's common with a couple lines. Unfortunately, I think something that the action figure market needs to pay attention to. Hasbro has a single jointed elbow, gets pretty good range of motion, and it allows for that swivel. I think more companies should probably switch to that, but double jointed elbow is always nice to have. Moving down to the wrist area, you can see he does have the data pad to put stratagems in. However, it seems like it's missing some paint here. It should be silver. Easy fix, but shouldn't need to be done for the price of the figure, which I'll get to at the end. And now for the hands. These hands come on and off very smooth, but they are a little loose. So you don't have to apply a whole lot of pressure to take this off. So just be cautious of that, but they shouldn't fall off. And what we're dealing with here is a ball joint that you can spin around, which is awesome. These are typical for McFarlane for just figures in the past. So you can set it up however you need for him to hold it. And that's important to make sure that you rotate this around when you're trying to pose your McFarlane action figures, because it helps a lot. So that's the left arm. Right arm is going to be the same. The only difference is there's no data pad here. And you can see the paint deco just looks great on the figure all the way through. All the buckles are metallic. The suit's black. There's a little bit of dry brushing on here. You can see it reflect in the light. Looks great. All the details are there too. You can see, hopefully it'll focus. Yep, the Helldivers logo there. And again, that is present on the back. Looks great. This one's a perfect copy, which I will take. Also have that same skull on the helmet here and here. Now, on the torso, the back is very blank. There's nothing there. There's no weathering. I actually don't remember if there's anything on here in the back of the game. Primary purpose is like the cape covers it, so there's no need to really put any detail to it, which is fine. I mean, again, the cape is going to cover it. Now, moving down to the torso area, we do have what feels like two different ball joints here. So there's going to be one here at the bottom, one here at the bottom, one here at the top. So you can have different motion spin up top and the bottom. So you can play with it and get it into a range of poses. It does lean pretty far to the right and the left, and he can get a good bit forward. So you can have him really look down, you know, make it look like he stepped on the bug or something and he's got it on his shoe. Something like that. You can just get funny with it. But pretty good range of motion there. Back, he can lean back pretty far, but because of the upper joint not being able to get that up there, he really can't look up that far. So he can't do that hysterical laugh emote, you know? Or, you know, give me a hug, brother. Moving down to the waist, I'm going to apply this up just a little bit so you can see there is a sculpt under there. This side's a bit more pliable. This one's not so much because of these armor pouches. And it looks like, yep, this is separate. A couple separate pieces here put together, but it works very well. It doesn't really hinder the movement that much. The legs can't kick up too far to begin with. This side's definitely hindered a little bit, but what I will do is hold this up. Another area that needs a swivel joint is somewhere here in the thigh. I feel like they probably could separate this piece here along with this armor piece and somehow create a swivel joint in there. It would help a lot, especially when it comes to posing, because you can see you could rock this way, but you can't really change the area of the leg. And if they can't do it there, do it here above the knee. Again, going to reference Hasbro with their single joint knees. They're not the greatest because they can't get into those good poses, but they do turn. So kind of got to sacrifice things here and there. Just an opinion of mine for that. And as you've seen, we have double jointed knees, so they can get pretty far. And all the details are in there. You got the buckles, the little bits of yellow. That is on the front. Not so much on the back. The back of the figure is very bland. I feel like a couple of these buckles right here probably should have been hit with silver. Again, I'm assuming that they're pretty close to this, so probably wouldn't see it anyway. So probably just scrapping some money. Now, moving down to the feet, we do have a ball joint. This is the #1 complaint that I've seen across the board from everybody and myself. These ankle joints are extremely loose. So if you go to stand this figure up, he's going to fall. If you stand him up correctly and you have those posed correctly, it's okay, but it takes quite a bit to get him to stand and hopefully not fall. They're my case in point. So one of the quick fixes that you can do to that is if you can pinch and grab the ball joint there and rotate, you can then, you probably have to hold it with your other hand, rotate the actual foot back around, and then you're going to kind of get, if you position it correctly, the ball joint to actually be off center a little bit. And if you can get that to be off centered from the foot, it'll actually tighten it up enough to where you can get him to stand with no issues of it being loose. So it's just something you have to fight with to unfortunately get it to work. One thing I'm going to do is probably pop these off and maybe do clear nail polish over the peg and then try and slot it back into the boot, see if it makes it a little bit tighter. But I think it's the actual joint itself. It's not so much the foot. So I would have to figure that one out. Like, I don't know if you could take that whole ball joint apart. It's just something, somebody will play with it eventually and figure it out. Hopefully McFarlane fixes it. I'm assuming it's probably not going to happen in the first wave of figures that are coming out. So, you know, cut them some slack. Maybe by the second wave, they'll get that figured out. But if you can rotate this ball joint around, I think that'll work for now. Overall, for the articulation, I don't think it's terrible. Surprisingly for a McFarlane figure, I think it's pretty good. Is it $60 worth? Like I said, we're going to talk about the price. So all of this is $60. I don't think so. I think it's close. I think 45 might be the highest I would go. It does come chocked full of accessories, and you also get this little stand. And then you get this card, McFarlane points, which I'm not going to let you steal my points, but you get those. I think $45 probably would have been the max that I would go for this, especially because in the game, you know, the Senator would clip to the side here. We don't have anything to clip this into. These weapons should be able to go onto the back of the figure. They don't have anywhere to punch into, so it's a simple fix. You know, they could have maybe had a hole in the cape here, pop the peg in, this could sit on the back. Somebody's going to do it with a magnet, just give it time. The Senator, very simply, could have just pegged into here. Would have been great. We don't have that. So it's just little things, really, but stuff that should have been done because they've done on previous figures. I mean, Halo has it here. Halo has it here. So I thought that maybe that would have carried over. It did not, unfortunately. And I hope to see that in the next wave. Now, I said I was going to compare it to another figure that is sort of on its own scale when it comes to being in things. And this is him standing next to, who also has loose ankle joints, the Jazzwares Master Chief from Halo 3. And you can see they are pretty much the same height. I actually believe he is just a hair taller, which obviously would not be true. He should be probably about here, chest height. Does it really bother me? No, because it's his own genre of figure, or his own genre that he's in. He's not in the Halo universe. If he was part of the Halo universe, I think more people would have problems with it, but he's not. Does it work well with other scales? I think so. Like if you were to put him with a Geonosian, you know, he's got to fight some bugs here and there. Maybe an Elite. I don't know if how he would. This Elite's kind of tiny. There's a Halo 4 one. Again, it's just one of those things where if you want to put him in that scale and that really bothers you, then that's going to be a gripe. For him being on his own in his own universe doesn't bother me at all. So I don't think that you should worry about that, and I think you'll be fine. I would give this figure a chance. I'm going to pose him up a little bit here and there and go over some of the poses and what I did to get him in there. So another one of the big complaints I have seen online, on Reddit, on Instagram, in the comments, is that he cannot hold his weapon very well. I believe he can hold his weapon fairly well for what it is. Obviously, this magazine gets in the way. I hate bullpup weapons on figures. It's just one of those things where it's going to happen. It doesn't translate well enough but he can hold it very well. He can shoulder it very well, and it really depends on how you move this specific ball joint around. And you got to have it angled properly. If you don't rotate this and you're just trying to fight it, it's not going to work. Most people think that you should just have it up and down or left and right. Consider the angles. I would go with a up but down diagonally and off to the left a little bit. This really does help get both movements in. And then again, because of that magazine, he's not going to be able to get this as close to his body as he can. And we're dealing with realistic portions here. What McFarlane's done, and I'm pretty sure they account for that, is they've made this peg really long. So you can kind of just have this float. And it will look a little weird, but it still works. Like, it looks fine. And then you just kind of got to play with the hand a little bit. But you can get him to hold this. And it looks fine. Right? It looks like he's running with it in the game. That's exactly how he holds it in the game. And then to shoulder it, what I would do is pull on the arm a little bit, and then you're going to drag it out with the butterfly joint so that it gets as far across his body as you possibly can. And then you're going to, I'm going to take that off so you can see. You're only going to want to bend probably the back elbow. And then you're going to work with the hand again. And what this is going to do is allow it to stay kind of close to the body. And he can shoulder it. So now when you have his head down, and then you add the other hand, you can see on an angle, of course, but it's there. He can shoulder it, and he can fire. And so you just have to give it a chance, really, and play with it. And that's all it is. It's an action figure. You're supposed to play with it, right? So if you can set it up, just put some time into it, invest into it, you can get it. Just throw a quick little pose with the cape here. The hardest part, honestly, with this is just fighting the feet. But there you go. So I don't think it's that bad. I don't think the price obviously matches it, but if you find this in the store, I wouldn't wait. I don't think this is going to last even with the price because it's the first time we're getting a Helldivers figure. So if you see it, I would just buy it. Just eat it. They're going to be coming out with more than just this guy. But if you specifically want to army build this guy, I would jump on it. I wouldn't wait. I don't know if they're going to be restocked. I would hope that they be restocked because I was only able to grab 3 of these guys and I would like to have a squad of 4. I'll probably have to pick up one random off of eBay, and I don't know what they're going to go for. If they're already at 60, they might go for like 80 or 90, especially if they sell out. So really jump on this if you see this at Walmart. If you have it pre-ordered, I wouldn't cancel it. I would just take it, open one, see what you think for yourself, and then make a decision. I'm happy with it, though. I think it's a great figure, and I think that if you really like the game and you're looking for something from the game, I would keep it. That's just my opinion, and I hope you guys have a great day.